Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, His Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meligy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Your Excellency.
Good afternoon to you.
Well, Your Excellency, what is the importance of Egypt being the first Arab and African country in order to, who recognized the state of Slovenia, as the Foreign Minister have mentioned today during his meeting with his Slovenian counterpart?
Well, actually, ever since the disintegration of the Yugoslavian Republic into 6 countries and then later to a 7th one, which is Kosovo, the last one, and Egypt has recognized new independent states, formerly known as the Yugoslavian Republic, and it was one of the first countries to recognize the sovereignty and the independence of Slovenia. And of course, this meant a lot to Slovenia, since we were the first country in the region, whether we're talking about Africa or the Middle East, to recognize its independence. And that's why the relations between Egypt and this newly country has been in a very good shape from the beginning. Let's not forget that there were several visits before, and the last visit of the Foreign Minister, Her Excellency, visited Egypt last year. And here we are, that our Minister of Foreign Affairs is visiting now Ljubljana to consolidate once again the bilateral relationship between the two countries in this very delicate moment of the region history.
Yes, so during a joint conference with his Slovenian counterpart, what are the means of the joint cooperation between Egypt and Slovenia?
Well, we have to understand that there are several axes of relation. Of course, we are talking about bilateral relations, and of course we are talking about the current crisis in the Middle East and the genocide that has been taking place in Gaza so far. So on the field of bilateral relations, we have to understand that both countries are aiming to further strengthening the bilateral cooperation in all fields, and especially in the economic and commercial sector between the two countries, which is something very understandable. And on another hand, there is the political dialogue between the two countries that is going to take place within the High Commission that both ministers are going to attend. But the most important thing, I think, is the relations with the Gaza Strip and the importance of the declaration of an independent free state, a Palestinian free state. Let's not forget that Slovenia has a position that differs a little bit from the mainstream Western European vision about this conflict, and that's why its progressive vision towards it has been reflected in the visit of Minister of Foreign Affairs Tanya Fayon to Rafah border, and the declaration that she made about the recognition of the necessity of the recognition of the free independent Palestinian state, and to stop the war in Gaza Strip.
Yes,
so I think this made Slovenia a very important partner to us in the region, if this is the vision of the official vision of the country.
Yes, you've just mentioned that both diplomats have mentioned the cooperation between Egypt, or that Egypt and Slovenia have the same stances concerning the rejecting the war in Gaza or liquidating the Palestinian cause. So how did you see this or read this same stance?
Well, I think that we have to look at it in a different way as well. As we all know, Slovenia is one of the non-permanent member of the Security Council. The Security Council that is going very soon, after the resolution of the General Assembly, to recognize the Palestinian state, is going to be sent once again from the General Assembly to the Security Council in order to review it and to once again try to recognize the Palestinian state, something that was vetoed last time by the Americans. So I think that also Egypt wants to secure a maximum approval of this resolution once again when it heads towards in the Security Council. And this, I think, one of the major targets of the visit of His Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. This is a very important thing. It's a non-permanent member at this delicate moment, and we need their support, and we have to make sure that they will vote in favor of a free, independent Palestinian state, and recognition of this state.
Yes. Your Excellency, Ambassador Meligy, also, how do you see Egypt's interests in communicating with all countries from all continents in order to achieve a partnership to support development?
Well, as we've seen before, I mean, ever since this war erupted, and Egypt did not spare any effort to talk to everyone concerned, everyone who can actually exert any kind of political pressure on Israel to comply with the international law and to stop its war crime known as genocide on the Gaza Strip. And I think that in order to do so, we are in contact with all the countries that have an access to Israel to pressure it and to put more pressure on it. Unfortunately, so far, although all the pressure that has been exerted, whether by our peace-loving countries or by even the United States that claimed in so many occasions that there is a divergence in its point of view with Israel regarding, for instance, the invasion of Rafah and so on, but they did not succeed so far, even though recently we've seen that although Hamas have accepted the Egyptian initiative, which was a very good one that will free all the hostages and everything, Israel rejected it practically by waging the war on Rafah, although that there were high optimism that we can reach an agreement. But unfortunately, the Israeli side insists once again on taking all the risks with their own hostages. I mean, it's not just about the Palestinians. They are even playing with fire regarding their own hostages. And that's why we've seen the high number of demonstrations in Tel Aviv and in other cities of Israel against the current government, because it does not take the hostages into consideration, something that we have warned from the beginning. But we hope that maybe the current pressure that is exerting by the world against Israel to comply with the international law will result in any positive way that Israel will not make its full-scale invasion to Rafah, which is going to be a bloodbath that we all want to avoid at this point.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Your Excellency, Ambassador Medhat Meligy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you very much for joining over the phone. I really had the pleasure to have this phone with you. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break and I'm going to be back with you.